Saddleback Lane and Horseshoe Lane, to accept these as public ways. So I believe we have Mr. Schneider's here to speak on this.
Do we have a mic?
No,
Oh, there you go.
no one can hear you.
It's over there, you have to,
Yeah, you get the microphone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Do you want me to make some sort of presentation?
your name, please.
Paul Schneiders, 12 William Street,
Thank
Canton.
you, sir.
The presentation is the article and the motion to amend the article, and that's what's before the town meeting. But if you want me to go in and say what my position is, I can certainly do that.
It's up to you.
I'll do it real quick because I wrote something out, and with you in mind, Mr. Connolly, I kept it down to about 2 minutes each. All right? The first, well, I'll go with the article first. The Article 31 is the article the town uses to accept private ways as public streets. It's identical to an article that appeared in last year's warrant for the acceptance of Revolution Way, and it's appeared in many prior warrants for the acceptance of other private ways. The only difference between the article you adopted last year, Article 31, are the two streets being accepted. And there's an amendment that we're asking the town meeting to adopt to assure that the town is only accepting 2 roads and no other private entities. The 2 roads we're asking the town to accept as public ways are Saddleback Lane and Horseshoe Lane. They're located off of Randolph Street at the Randolph Town line. This subdivision was begun in 2010, but only completed in 2020. So the 2 streets are among the newest streets in the town. The final coat was applied to the roads only 4 years ago. I'm going to put a slide up there that shows how beautiful the homes and how beautiful the streets are. The goal of all towns is to make sure all of its streets are in good condition and safe. Ideally, towns would own all their streets and maintain them. But there are about 80 very old streets in Canton that some are not in good condition, some are not entirely safe. Towns will usually not accept responsibility for such roads unless they are first improved by the private owners. Saddleback Lane and Horseshoe Lane do not need any improvements, and they are safe. The subdivision is built pursuant to Chapter 40B, which means that 10% of its houses were built as affordable houses as required by state law. Only 6 of the 26 homes on these 2 streets are affordable houses. The other 20 were sold at market price, and the owners pay full taxes. In order to create some affordable housing in compliance with Chapter 40B, Canton and every other town must relax some of the subdivision regulations, but this does not mean any part of the subdivision, especially streets, can ever be constructed in an unsafe way. In short, these 2 very new streets are in excellent condition, safe, and with the amendment that we hope will be adopted, the town will not accept responsibility for any of the other subdivision entities, including the sewer pump, the water retention basin, and all the landscaping. You're voting only to accept 2 streets. Then the next thing is a quick thing on the amendment. This amendment to Article 31, if adopted, will assure that only those 2 ways and no other private entities in the site will become town property. Article 31 mentions only the 2 roads, but several town officials and town committees expressed concern that 4 other private entities at Canton Hill subdivision could inadvertently be included in the acquisition of the 2 roads. In particular, they fear that the sewer pump station, the 2 stormwater detention basins, and the substantial landscaping could automatically be conveyed with the 2 roads unless language in the article specifically excludes those private entities. So these town officials asked me to draft the amendments printed in the back of your voting cards. I did this with the assistance of many, many town officials. In short, if you adopt this motion to amend Article 31, only the 2 streets will become town property. As the modification states, the sewer pump, the 2 stormwater parcels, and all the landscaping will remain the sole responsibility of the homeowners association. The town's sole responsibility will be to maintain the 2 streets, and so we ask that you vote in favor of this.
Thank you, Mr. Schneiders. Thank you.
Okay.
Just to make it clear that myself, Town Administrator Duty, the Town Engineer, Alphonse, and Randy Scollins met with the homeowners and Attorney Schneiders, and Town Council, representative of Town Council was there to come up with some type of agreement, and we came up with an agreement. So my major concern was the retaining ponds and also the sewer pump and the water, the sewer pump mainly. And as we have, as I said, stated in the past, because I was against this from the beginning, and this board already voted against it, to sue the pumps. We got stuck with one in SD Way, and I'll use those words, and also one on Oxbow Road, because it cost us thousands and thousands of dollars. The homeowners association came before us, and Dave's here, came before us and said they worked out an agreement with town council and that they would take full responsibility now and forever for the pumps. So I went up there. As everyone knows, this was a 40B that goes back 20, 25 years. It was originally the Roseland property. Roseland sold it to Avalon. Avalon sold it to the next person, and then the next person. So if you notice that the apartments that are off in Randolph, but half of them are in Canton, and there's no entrance or exit in Canton. If you drive through Saddleback and Horseshoe, you can see there's 3 different homes that look just like the other homes, and they have dual entrances. And I figured it out because it had 2 mailboxes. So there's 6 of them. This is 40B project, and there was 22 waivers that were done way back when. So this is before we got the magic number, over the magic number of 10 with 40B. We're up now to roughly 12.5%, approximately there, right around there. So I support this fully, and I intend to support this fully, and because we like to help the neighbors, and they're saying that they will legally take responsibility for the things that we had concerns of. And I don't know, Mr. Duty, you want to add anything, or any members of the board?
Could I make a quick addition to what I said, because based on what you said? You mentioned several people who helped out in drafting the amendment, and you mentioned, I think, Mr. Duty and yourself, but the finance director was involved, Cindy Thomas, the finance committee chair, was involved, Alphonse Coker was at the meeting, and most importantly was Tim Curley, the assistant town council. In the last almost 4 weeks ago, I had many conferences with him, and we emailed back and forth, and he kept making suggestions, we kept making changes, I kept running the changes by you. And finally, 3 weeks ago, he said, it's final. The last thing he asked for was to address the landscaping. And so we put the very last thing you'll see on the amendment is all the landscaping will remain the responsibility of the homeowners and the homeowners association. So that was that. This morning, he called me up and he said, well, you gave us map and parcel numbers for the pumping station and the retention ponds, but you didn't give us map and parcel numbers for landscaping. And I said, that's impossible, because the landscaping is behind the house, in front of the house, along the sidewalk, and the assessors don't divide up map and parcels according to landscaping. So he said, well, yeah, that makes some sense. So that's the last that I have heard, but I just heard a rumor that there might be another issue, so I hope not.
Thank you. Any other members of the board?
Just a question.
Mr. McCourt?
Attorney Snyder, where the homeowners association, and maybe they could talk about this, is going to take care of the landscape and pumping station, is there going to be an escrow account set up
Yes.
for that? And who would monitor that so they make sure the funds would be there?
Well, you can monitor it, and we have here the trustee of the homeowners association, Mr. Nicholas.
Dave Nicholas.
David Nicholas is a trustee, and under the trustee agreement, he's got sole responsibility for many things, not all things, but many things. And he has an escrow account already. It was asked by the committee of people that Mr. Connolly just mentioned that we increase that. He agreed to do that.
Yeah, so all the,
Just the name and address, please, Ms.
yeah, David Nicholas, 35 Saddleback Lane.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So we, I've been running the HOA of the neighborhood for probably like 3 years now, and we have a well thought out budget, so I know what all our expenses are, and we budget for it. Obviously, this took up a lot of money to try to, hire Attorney Snyder's for this event. The town asked us to, draw up plans for the road. That was like several $1,000s. So, granted, our HOA fee is really low right now, but I don't mind talking to the neighbors, trying to kick it up to bring it up to a little bit more. But I know what the expenses are, and we budget for them right down to the penny every year. And believe it or not, our biggest expense is landscaping. right? It's not the sewer pump, it's landscaping, so you have to mow those retention ponds, they're really big, and they go down into a bowl. Nobody wants to do it, right? So if you get other quotes from other landscapers, they're like, I don't want to do that, right? So you have to get someone that's willing to do it, and you pay a premium for it. So landscaping's our number one biggest expense. The other one is, the second would be the sewer pumps, but the sewer pumps I already budget for. I have Hayes Pump that service contracts in place that takes care of it. Hayes Pump is also the same company that takes care of the town of Canton pumps, I believe. I have service contracts with a generator service or a backup service in case the power goes out. I have a service contract with Avon Sewer, which pumps out the holding tank every other month and power washes it. Everything's there. It's all financially taken care of. I actually just gave the sewer pump a tune-up the other day, and it runs awesome. Probably runs better than any pump in the town of Canton. So it's all thought out. It's all well budgeted for. We will increase the fees to get a little bit more of a buffer, you know, in the account. And if needed, I also have the ability to do assessments. So outside of HOA fees, I can do an assessment. So if we had a big $25,000 one-time cost, I can assess it across the 31 homeowners that make up the entire development.
Thank you. And one last question that I have, Mr. Attorney Snyder, is that the planning board has actually looked at this, and I believe they are 5-0 in favor of this, and originally they weren't because they didn't have all the information. The only thing I haven't heard from, and it didn't go in front of them, or I didn't get a comment from, was the zoning board. And the zoning board was the one that gave all the waivers in the original 40B. Has there been any talk from them as to their position?
There was a informal meeting, which I'm sure some of you attended, which was the town meeting last Wednesday
Yes.
night.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
I
Mr. Panda
the
did
zoning
speak
board, I
on
know
it.
there was some reservations from one member.
He did say that, but then he said, well, he's not going to speak at town meeting, he's not going to take a position. That's what I understand, he's not
He
taking.
did call me and tell me that,
Yeah.
Mr. Pando.
And the final thing I
So that-
want to say is that our Randy and our engineer went down. I actually saw the roads in great shape. So I was just in reservations on the funding to make sure funding's available for that. Thank you.
Exactly.
Well, there has to be an agreement drafted following this between the homeowners association and the board of selectmen. That's the same thing you've done with all the streets you've accepted. Before the selectmen lay them out, you come up with an agreement. So that agreement has to be written. In that agreement can be that you have oversight of their budget to make sure that they've got enough money in it. I'm sure you'll be reasonable, but
Thank you,
we're
Mr.
going
Chairman.
to agree to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Any other questions, comments from the members of the board? Hearing none. Mr. Camo, you have a question or concern?
I do, Mr. Chairman. George Camo, 225 Sherman Street here in Canton. As you know, I served on the planning board for 11 years, and several of those years as chair. Yes. Forgive me, I've got a bit of a... As you know, I served on the planning board for 11 years, and several of those years as chair. This is not how we accept streets in the town of Canton. Notwithstanding the fact that this was a 40B, I don't buy that this street should be accepted by the town at this point. I would ask you tonight not to vote to accept these streets. For the simple reason, yes, indeed, these were 40B. They were not subject to the subdivision control law. Under Canton's bylaw, the subdivision control law lays out very strict standards for the construction of our ways. Not only does it lay out strict standards, it lays out inspections along the way. The base course, the utilities, how many inches each of those lifts are for base coat and top coat. None of that was done on this project. So what you see is an illusion. And I will tell you just quickly a story about an illusion while I was on the planning board. There was a point at which we went to inspect a subdivision road. And Mr. Jenkins, who was chair at the time, said, I'm going to show you something. And he walked over to a fire hydrant that looked just perfect on that subdivision road, and he kicked it over. You know the story.
Yes, I
he
do.
kicked it over because it was connected to nothing. That's not what I'm saying is happening here, but what I am saying is these roads were never inspected as they were being built, first of all. Second of all, this was a 40B, which meant it suspended all of our zoning bylaws with respect to use. And what was built there, and what was slid into this project, in addition to the affordable housing, were the 20 units. Those 20 houses that are there are 1.4, 1.6, 1.8 million dollars. They bought a private way. It's what they own. You should not accept this street on principle, because I can name 30 other streets that will be lining up to come before this town and do exactly what we're seeing here today. We should not undertake these obligations. Furthermore, all the meetings that happened to get to tonight were done in private, off the grid. This is the only public discussion. The planning board has already voted 5-0 against this. I know this because I sleep with the chairman. So the truth of the matter is, you should not...
Chairwoman.
What?
Chairwoman.
The chairperson,
Person,
correct.
thank you.
But
Yeah, thank you.
yes, I'll be paying for that later. But the point is, this is not your purview. This would be the purview of the zoning board. This would be the purview of the planning board. This would be the purview of DPW. Yes, you are the road commissioners, but only after roads have been accepted. So this is something that I feel really strong about, and I'm going to save you the rest of my presentation for the town meeting floor. But I will present this tonight, and I'm vehemently against accepting these until they come in. And we see all these plans ahead of time, we see these agreements ahead of time. The HOA fee is unbelievably low for what this is. And I don't think we should be buying a pig in the poke. These were private roads. That was the deal that was made with the zoning board to get this in. We gave 22 waivers. We didn't have to give 22 waivers. Those waivers are not required under 40B. But you may recall, in 2010, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court came to the town and says, you must allow this. We had already gotten over our threshold at that point. They reset the clock, and we built this. Why would we reward the bad behavior and all the legal bills that we paid to fight against this, to accept these roads? These 20 homes, plus the affordable homes, should continue to be on a private way, and they should continue to pay their HOA fees, and they should continue to take care of private property. They are enriched by this and should not be enriched or rewarded. It sends the wrong message to developers that we're willing to flip-flop on this. So I ask you all tonight to set a standard tonight and not vote in favor of this.
So just to clarify one thing, Mr. Camo.
Yes, sir.
We don't, it's not our decision. It's not the planning board's decision. It's not the finance committee's decision. It's town meeting's decision.
Your recommendation
No,
carries great weight,
it's-
Mr. Chairman.
Let me finish, please, Mr. Camo. It's the town meeting's decision. We're gonna make a recommendation, and I'm in favor of this.
You are the fathers and mothers of this town, and you're asking the town to
That's not what
follow
I'm
your
saying. It's the town
recommendation.
meeting will make the decision.
I'm asking you to provide leadership and make a decision that's in the best interest of the town's people and not 20 residents who bought a piece of property on a private road, and it should not be made public as a result of this. We have no idea what's below the surface of that. There are no bounds and meets. Nobody has looked, and there's not even been a single core sampling of that road. That's what gets done when you accept roads. That's the way we've always done it in this town. And your
Well, there are
meetings
88
that led
roads that
up to
have,
this,
88 roads that haven't been accepted, so,
and they'll all be in a line to do this.
and we'll take each one as it comes.
We shouldn't do that.
That's your opinion.
But it's
These people come to us for help, for support, and I'm willing to listen to
It's
them.
$1.6 million homes.
That doesn't matter, George.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
They bought
Just
on
someone's
their
ability
deed
to
a
pay?
private
No.
road.
So-
They own the road.
All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Camo.
Well,
Can I just say two
No.
quick things?
In a minute, Mr. Snyder's. We got a full agenda. Any other questions or comments? What's the will of the board?
So I'm in favor of sending this to town meeting with a positive recommendation.
Is a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion, comments, concerns? What, Paul?
I had to rewrite the motion.
Yeah, but it's 6 o'clock now, Paul. Okay? 6 o'clock.
I rewrote it during the day because of this addition.
You've had it for 2 weeks. You've had it for 2 weeks, okay? This is the 11th hour.
Better-
We've had it for 2 weeks, Paul. There's a motion before us.
Point of order, could that gentleman please speak louder to the residents of the town, what he's saying to you? Instead of having a sidebar up there, could you take the
Name and address, please.
Paul DeRensis, 260 Franklin Street, Boston, Massachusetts. I had suggested some edits to the motion based on the addition of this landscaping piece. I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the board that for legal reasons, there was a need to make some adjustments.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Durensis, Town Council. So there's a motion from Mr. Lochran, seconded by Mr. McCourt, I believe, or Mr. Albert. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor of bringing it to town meeting, let them decide, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's 5-0. Thank you. Mr. Lochran.
Next, we have considered the approval of the updated ARPA plan. And Mr. Duty, are you going to speak on that?
Yeah, I
or-
can speak briefly on it. So as you know, the town had devised a plan for the opera projects. This is the federal aid during COVID, and we've been working through, the finance director has been working through applications to the county to get projects approved, and we're getting near the end. So we have 4 projects left, and we had to make some adjustments to a couple of them. I just want to make sure everyone's aware, and I'd ask that you revote your support for the final 4 projects. So the last 4 projects are, there's a small business loan or grant opportunity in the amount of $40,000 that we would like to apply for. We have a rental assistance project in the amount of $50,000 that we'd like to apply for. And we have replacement of the granular activated carbon filters. That's at $204,000. And then we have the premium pay project, and that's $556,000.
Any questions for the town administrator? Comments?
Just one, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Lochran.
I know the pickleball court project got postponed, but there's still money in ARPA for that because it
Yes.
seems like that might be resurrected. And
That's correct. That is previously approved at $157,000, I think, for pickleball, and that money is still available.
perfect. Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What are we doing here? Like, we can't even hear what you guys are saying up there. We don't have microphones or anything
That's not-
to hear what's going on with this meeting. Maybe we postpone this meeting to a later date, because these people can't hear to hear what you're saying. We can't even hear a goddamn thing that you're saying, whispering back and forth. This isn't a proper agenda
Thank-
to have a
thank-
meeting.
thank you,
There
Mr.
needs to be microphones, and I make a motion that we dismiss the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Lochran.
I move that the board approve the updated ARPA plan.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any further comments, concerns, questions? No. Yeah, just a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 401.
Next, Mr. Chair, we have a application to change the officers and directors for Topgolf USA Canton LLC, 777 Dedham Street. The application is in order, the change is administrative, and there are no change in the day-to-day operations. So I move that the board approve an application to change the officers and directors for Topgolf USA Canton LLC, 777 Dedham Street.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Mr. Lochran.
Next, we have Select Board representative appointments to the following committees. So as the Select Board is aware, Mr. Duty reached out to each of us individually and asked for opinions on committees that we might be interested in serving on that now have a vacancy. So I make a motion, I move that the board approve the Select Board representative appointments to the following committees. Community Preservation, Chris Albert. Master Plan Implementation Committee, Trish Boyden. And the Reservoir Pond Committee, Jay Armacourt.
Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing,
Second.
motion made and seconded. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Yes.
I came specifically for item 4, which I see was canceled, and that was the appointment of Eric Wade.
Yes.
And I see that we do not have public comments tonight, and I have some serious issues.
We're not going to talk about that now.
Okay, so
Okay.
are we, okay, so, and there's no public comments tonight?
Okay.
Not tonight, 'cause we
So
have
the
town-
next meeting
the
will
town
have public comments, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lockren,
I move that the board approve the following school committee representative appointments. Kim McCourt to the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, and Christiane Miranda to the Master Plan Implementation Committee.
any comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, 401. Mr. McCourt abstains. Mr. Lockren,
I move that the board approve the following Conservation Commission appointments. Melissa Mayer to the Community Preservation Committee, Robert McDonald to the Master Plan Implementation Committee, and Gerald Carmichael to the Water and Sewer Rate Policy Committee.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Mr. Lockren,
I move that the board approve the following Housing Authority appointments. Glenn Hannington to the Affordable Housing Trust, and Adam Brothers to the Community Preservation Committee.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Mr. Lockren,
I move that the board approve the appointment to the Beautification Committee, Christopher Conley.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's 5-0. Mr. Lockren,
I move that the board approve the appointment to the Traffic Committee, James P. Schmakel.
Second.
motion's been made for the Traffic Committee. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Mr. Lockren,
I move that the board approve the appointment to the Veterans Council, Darren Baumeister. Apologize. That's right.
motion's been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0.
I move that the board approve the appointment to the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, Justin King.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for Ms. King. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0.
Next, Mr. Chair, we have two applicants that are interested for the one vacancy, the one current vacancy on the Conservation Commission. So we have a Christine Smith and Carolyn Elcourt that are both interested.
So if the town administrator and I decided, if it's okay with Ms. Smith and Ms. Elcourt, if you want to just tell us about yourself and we'll take under advisement. Whoever, Ms. Smith, you want to come up and just, if you would, I apologize, I thought. And then Ms. Elcourt, I see Ms. Elcourt here. And I did get your resume, and most of us have known you for a long time, so.
Yep.
So if you want to just introduce yourself.
Sure.
Please.
Christine Smith, 50 Coppersmith Way. As you know, this was all in my statement, my email
Yes.
to you, my resume. I'm an attorney. I'm Assistant General Counsel of the Department of Fish and Game, where I am responsible for the acquisition and management of open space to protect natural resources, endangered species, plants, animals within the Commonwealth, and that is one of the main responsibilities of the Conservation Commission as well. Conservation Commission also, enforces the Wetlands Protection Act, and I have a lot of experience in real estate law where I've had to work with the Wetlands Protection Act, interpret it, review plans and whatnot. So I feel that my experience is very relevant to the open position, and it would be an honor for me to serve the town in this capacity. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Do you have any questions?
Do you have any questions, comments, concerns?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Put this down. Can you hear me?
No, that's,
Oh, is that just for cable? Hi,
That's for
good
cable,
evening. Okay. My name is Carolyn Elcourt. Do you need address? And
Yes, please.
1205 Davenport Ave in Canton. I've been a lifelong resident of Canton, and I look forward to having the opportunity to serve on the Conservation Commission. I have had the opportunity to work with various local community groups and town committees, including the Canton Sustainability Committee. And as I mentioned, as a lifelong resident of Canton, I'm familiar with many of the conservation plans in the area. And I would like to be a voice for environmental protection in Canton and provide support, particularly for those residents who live adjacent to conservation land or who need issues coming before the committee. As someone that went before the Conservation Committee with Title V issues, it can be challenging. I think it's important to have someone also on the commission that recognizes the challenges for residents coming before the committees. I really strongly believe preserving the town's natural resources now more than ever is crucial for both the benefit of both current and future generations in Canton. As Christine mentioned, I'm also particularly interested in developing the Canton Open Space and Recreation Plan. I recognize there's a lot to learn on a committee. I've spoken to many previous conservation commissioners. I've already planned on taking the Fundamentals for Conservation Commissioners Certificate Training Program offered by the Mass Association of Conservation Commissions based in Belmont. They're a wonderful group, and plan on attending many of their seminars and importantly learning the nuts and bolts of the ever-important Wetland Protection Act from experienced professionals also there. So as I said, I look forward to the opportunity for serving on the Conservation Commission in Canton. Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions, comments? Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Larkin?
I move that the board declare as surplus 2019 Ford Explorer police vehicle.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I just have a quick point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'm wondering, we can't hear what you're saying. I have no hearing difficulty at all, and I can hear like every 10th word.
That's Cable's, that's with Cable. We have nothing to do with that.
No,
We have
but-
a meeting to run.
Right, no, I understand, but I just have a quick question, if you don't
Sure.
mind, a quick point of order.
Sure.
Is this in accordance with open meeting laws? If we have about 40, potentially 50 people here, and I'm guessing, if someone's hard of hearing, forget it, they can't hear anything. I'm picking up like every 10th word. I see we have our town council here. Maybe I'm just wondering, is this in accordance with open meeting laws? If you're having a meeting and we're here, we want to hear, we can't hear. I understand this microphone is for cable, so people at home, I'm glad, can hear you. But the people here who came maybe to participate if they had a certain issue they wanted to talk about or, to participate in our government, we can't hear what you're saying because of the noise in the room. And that's something that you guys could have, cable has nothing to do with whether we can hear you, right?
No, Cable has everything to do with it. We have nothing to do with it.
No, but you set up the meeting,
No, they do.
so they set up the like
Yes,
they
they
have, I'm just saying that this is a town of Canton meeting and that the town of Canton
Cable's
is
in-
responsible
listen,
for making sure that we
Cable
can
has
hear.
in charge of it, not the town of Canton.
So can I ask, my question is, my point of order is this in accordance with open meeting laws? If the meeting is held, it's kind of like if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, it doesn't, if a meeting is happening and we can't hear it, is it really happening? And is it in accordance with Massachusetts open meeting laws? That's my, that's
assume
my
it is.
question. Thank you. That's my point of
That's the
order.
way we used to do it before there was cable TV.
Well, you might not have been holding it in this room where we can't hear. There's all sorts of, mechanical equipment here, and we can't hear what's going on. You don't usually hold a meeting in this room. I assume it's the town's responsibility to make sure that the people can hear. We have a whole information, tech department, right, who could make sure that we could hear.
It's the cable's responsibility. They're in charge of the microphones, the cameras, and the microphones. That microphone.
I
and
didn't
these
think
microphones.
cable had anything to do with the town. I thought they were a separate entity. I understand they record it.
They're a separate entity, but they're in charge of it.
My point of order is this in accordance with Massachusetts open meeting laws? If you are having a meeting, we can see you but not hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
come, slide up.
Mr.,
You just did a thing.
yeah, we're going to vote on the car.
I have a point of order. Is this in
We're going to
accordance?
vote on this, the item we're in the middle of.
And of course, I understand. But then you'll answer the point of
On
order.
up.
All those in favor of declaring these 29 Ford Explorer police vehicle as surplus, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0.
John, may I speak for a moment?
Yes.
Just to clarify, Canton Community Television has nothing to do with a public meeting. We are responsible for how the sound is for people at home. We are not responsible for how the sound is in this room. I just wanted that to be clarified.
So it's a legal meeting, Mr. Durensis?
gotta go to the microphone.
Okay. So in your opinion, okay. So,
Is he saying is it fair? Is it open?
What is it?
do we continue with the meeting?
I would bring everybody in.
If they want to come close, if you can't hear.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, well, we just do it in the auditorium, they could all
Yeah,
sit around.
right up to
so
the
we are-
table.
So you want to stop the meeting at this time? What's the will of the board?
John, can we just sit, like, maybe they all sit right up front? They can
No,
probably
we
hear
can-
us better?
We are in there?
Yeah.
No.
No?
Yeah, if they want to come
Yeah, well,
closer.
everyone come
If not,
closer.
I'll just make a motion to postpone the rest of the meeting until we meet again.
I say we finish it, but maybe everyone can come closer. We have time, let's just do it.
Come closer.
Yeah, if you can't hear, come
It is
closer.
Cable's
So
responsibility.
if anybody's struggling to hear, you're welcome to bring the chairs closer.
Right, we're just,
Thank you.
Sure. Yay.
Everybody but you. That's the only way he's going to get to the front of the class.
Is that right?
All right?
Let's try to speak louder as well.
Let's do it, come on.
Speak louder. Mr. Lockren.
Next, I move that the board accept and authorize the use of the gift in accordance with the terms thereof under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A. A $1,000 donation to the Department of Elder and Human Services Physical Fitness Programming from Victor Del Vecchio and Alicia R. Lopez Family Fund.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion, comments, concerns, except a thank you? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Mr. Lockren.
I move that the board approve the request from the library trustees for the use of up to $50,000 mitigation for the interior design services for the library.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion, comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is to get the library trustees have put forth the funding for the design services of Phase 2 of the library. The library interior renovations and corrections from the damage that has been done from the roof and the problems that we had beginning. So I specifically had a meeting with the library trustees, and we talked about it, and they came up with a good amount of funding, and this completes, we hope, the funding for the design services so that we can actually get the designs for the interior of the library where we want to be, get it all up to snuff so it's used modernly in this day and age, 2025 on. And this is to get this process rolling, so we're not holding the process up.
Any other comments? Go ahead. Trish, you...
So I move that I second it, and that's where we're doing it.
Motion's been made and seconded. We haven't voted it yet.
I'm anticipating, I'm
Okay,
excited
thank you.
that it's going on.
Hearing no further questions, comments, or concerns, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0.
Now we can go out.
Mr. Lockren.
Next, we have the annual town meeting, Article 28, the appropriation to fund museum improvements at the Paul Revere Heritage Site.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion or comments, concerns? And this will free up some cash for the schools and for the town starting July 1st, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just make sure that's on the record. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Mr. Lockren.
Next, I move that the board approve the social media policy. This was presented at a previous meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0.
Next, I move that the board approve the Select Board Operating Procedures Review Administrative Code Part 1. And again, this was a policy that was presented at a previous meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Mr. Lockren.
I move that the board approve the cemetery commitments in the amount of $3,787.50.
Second.
Motion's been made in the cemetery commitments. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Mr. Lockren.
I move that the board approve the cemetery lot perpetual care deeds.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Cemetery lot perpetual care. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Mr. Lockren.
I have the vendor warrant total for the week of 5/3/2024, $1,251,209.65. The payroll warrant total for the week of 5/3/2024, $1,569,547.89. The vendor warrant total for the week of 5/10/2024, $4,142,780.09. And the payroll warrant total for the week of 5/10/2024, $340,949.62.
Thank you, Mr. Lockren. Next board meeting.
Yep. So next, Mr. Chair, the Select Board will hold its next meeting on Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, at 7 p.m. in the Sala Meeting Room, 801 Washington Street.
Any other questions or comments, concerns? Hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn at 6:12 p.m.
Move to adjourn.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't shake my hand.
I don't have COVID.
You're not moving, neither am I.
Congrats.
I think that votes for Al Hines.
Hey, Cable 85,